Hey, James.
Okay, your Facebook and okay. Now I got gallery.
7.
No, I'm waiting on Leah. Leah, your Facebook and public?
Everything is up. Everything is up and running.
Okay, I was waiting for you to let me know. All right, welcome everyone to Portsmouth Coffee Talks Evening Edition. And thank you for being with us tonight. And we are having a show with just a host this evening. And we have a subject that we're gonna tackle here tonight. And most of you in the city of Portsmouth witnessed city council meeting either live or later on when that video was traveling around to everybody about the actions of the city council. And we're going to discuss that tonight. And I'm sure there are going to be different opinions from each one of our hosts. And I'll start off by saying, well, first, Colonel, I'll let you say, do your disclaimer.
Yes, for those who are out there in Facebook land, especially Facebook land, if Mr. Zuckerberg is listening, the views listed on this program are just of the host. And if we have a guest, it'll be a guest, but just of the host. And then the other thing for those folks out there, if you like what you're seeing, we need your help because this is the only medium out there that is giving y'all the truth. And we are down and dirty, tell it like it is, and keeping you informed. So if you'd like to send an honorarium or a donation to Portsmouth Coffee Talk, P.O. Box 7664, Portsmouth, Virginia 23707, and it is a something for your own future. Thank you. Let's hit it.
Okay, thank you, Colonel. I appreciate that. And we're going to talk about the actions of the city council last meeting, which was Tuesday night, when 4 of the city council persons, it wasn't on the agenda, but 4 council persons added this to the agenda near the end of the meeting to fire the city manager, Angel Jones. It was a surprise to some. The rumor was out there, but still hit some people. I was kind of surprised because I was sitting there watching. I said, "Oh, we're gonna get through this meeting without without some kind of controversy." And then that came up, and it was a 4-3 vote. And I will say that I did text Reverend Dr. Mark Whitaker, giving him the opportunity to come on, since he was the one that made the motion to fire the city manager. And he said he would rather wait until the process is completed. So we did give him an opportunity to come on, and he's the only one I asked because he did make that motion. And we wanted to hear from him exactly what were the reasons for doing that. And there was no reason given by either of the 4 members of council, which a lot of them ran on transparency and making sure the public knows what the council is doing. Maybe it'll come out later, but it probably should have come out that night because a lot of people were caught blindsided. So we're going to start the conversation, and Colonel, I'm going to let you chime in there about your thoughts.
Okay, first, who were the other 3 jokers that voted to get rid of the city manager?
It was
DeAndre Bonds, Paul Batter, and
Vice Mayor Bonds,
and Woodard.
Okay, so it's interesting. One, I would say it's a complete embarrassment, and it's an embarrassment to the citizens of Portsmouth, Virginia, that they don't have real representation at city council and in the mayor's office and on down. And it is past that is that it's costing them, because as they fired the city manager, I know that the city's probably got to pay her whatever is in her contract at $200,000 a year. And so I don't know how long her contract was, but I doubt if they even thought of that. You know, and for those who said that they want transparency, there's hardly ever any transparency in the city council, especially from the head shed on down. And so when you fire somebody for no reason, and you can't cite why, it leads me to think, and this is me, to think that I either told you you can't do something illegal, unethical, or unjust to the citizens of Portsmouth. I cut you off from taking that graph, allegedly taking a graph, because one, what I hear on the street that you wanted me to shift some money over to the Big Homies program, where I would shift some money out to my foundation, because remembering I don't have a job, and I'm not naming this joker's name, and I'm just gonna call him a joker, and you can see who he is, Mr. Vice Mayor. So it stinks. And it's not the way you do business. It is not the way you do business.
Well, just as a disclaimer, we're going to take Big Homie's name out of this, because Big Homie is legitimate. So we're going to take his name from out of this completely, because what he's doing is above ground, and he's not taking it, and he's not taking any money from the city council at all. So we're going to leave his name out. But Colonel, I agree. I agree. Go ahead, Colonel.
Well, I say that because, yes, I wanted to do it, but it's not the money that they're going to slide it. They were going to take, I believe they were going to take money from the stimulus money that shouldn't have gone there. There's a difference. There's a difference in how you do it. Mm-hmm. The money hadn't been allocated to Big Homies. And it's a concept. You have to do what is ethical and what is right. Mm-hmm. What's not going to end up in jail. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I just want to say that I was truly horrified. I was horrified, first of all, as to how they did it. You know, often it's not what you do, it's how you do what you do. Mm-hmm. And to think that this lady was asked to come to a church, to go to a church and to be told, either you resign or I have 4 votes to get you out of office. I was horrified that this Black woman was treated, any woman, but especially this Black woman, was treated with so much disrespect. The level of disrespect, it is just, I mean, as I talk to ladies on the streets, everybody is just alarmed that these 4 men got together to gang up on this lady.
Yes.
And on any job that you work on, if your performance is not up to par, you're given a pip to tell you how you can improve upon your performance. But as we saw on the news, they showed her performance evaluation, and it was not a bad evaluation. So you can't use performance as a rationale for firing her. Yes. And secondly, they're letting the narrative get ahead of them, because everybody on the streets, they're talking now. They're talking that they already had plans to bring in either Meeks or Kenny Wright or Tanya Chapman or who else was it they mentioned? They mentioned a number of names on the street. The words are out on the street that they had already, they didn't want her in the first place. Let's get that through. They didn't want her in the first place. And they had already had plans in motion to get rid of her. You know, when she came here, I told her, I said, Angel, you need prayer. You need a covering over you. Coming to the city of Portsmouth, You need a covering over you for protection.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the way they did it, it was just totally uncalled for. And many people were upset with the words that Lisa used, but I can understand how Lisa felt to see a Black woman treated in the manner in which she was treated. It pulls everything that's inside of you. It pulls it up and it comes out. She did apologize for the language that she used, but she brought it to them. She brought it to their face. She said, now tell me that what I'm saying is not true. No one yet has said that what Lisa was saying was not true. And I'm just as angry as Lisa was on that night.
Yeah, I am pissed too. I am so pissed now. And then now with the names that you've discussed that are bringing in there, it is, I can see the Furious Four trying to cut a drug deal and to see who they can bring in real quick to satisfy that. And then they've, it's beyond crazy. It's beyond crazy. And I agree with our, that in November, the people of Portsmouth need to stand up and send some of these jokers home, because they don't represent the interests of the city of Portsmouth anymore. They have lost all credibility with this action. And it's not even about a Black woman. It's about anybody.
Exactly.
Anybody sitting in that chair.
You're right. You're
anybody.
right. You're
Black,
right.
white, Asian, whatever, to be treated that way and to go down that way. It's just, and for no reason at all. None.
And Colonel and James, you know, the problems that Portsmouth is experiencing are not problems that happened in the past year. These problems have been ongoing for a period of time. And a year's time, you're not going to correct the problems that are confronted by this city. You can't do it in a year's time. At least give the person a chance. Give the person a chance to do what they can do to help to correct the problem. Now, she may not, she didn't make everybody happy. None of us are going to make everybody happy, but at least she was trying to do some things to make the city better. And it's just sad. You know, it's sad because I'm getting calls from my friends all across the country. And Portsmouth is a laughing stock. Portsmouth is laughing stock now.
Well, you know what? And the thing is, she was trying to fix their mistakes, previous mistakes. They're the ones who were sitting on the board.
Exactly.
Making all continuously messing up with the money, messing up the publicity, sitting out there actually, and I'm starting to say there's a lack of bandwidth for more. And I always said one of them didn't have bandwidth. That's sitting up there, and I'm not going to name his name, but it's starting to spread like a disease. There's a disease in the city council today. And November, people need to stand up and get some true representation that somebody is going to run this city the way it is supposed to be run. And it's a shame. It's beyond a shame, being ashamed.
It is. It is.
You know, I'm reminded of, and I can say the name Vice Mayor Barnes because this is what he said. Especially in the beginning, he put a lot of the blame of where we are now on previous councils and other people that have been around for a long time that have let things go on for a long time. And like someone I like to listen to all the time, Joe Madison on Urban Black News, you know, he said, well, what are you going to do about it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when you make those kind of statements about what happened in the past, the question to you that makes that statement, so what are you going to do about it? And look like we have with the present council, and I want to quantify, I don't want to paint a broad brush, you know, but I have to say the council because, you know, we're talking about the total council and people know, they watch, they see who is what. And I think about, you know, I'm a product of the 70s and not born in the 70s, but the 70s was the time when I came into my manhood. And it was a song I remember by Funkadelic called America Eats Is Young.
How about
and
Eats Is Young? Yes.
I thing about Portsmouth eating their own people, you know, and having nowhere to go with it. And it has to be something, and I agree with both of you saying it was the way it was done and not having enough transparency, letting us know. Usually in those cases, when a situation comes up like that and they say personnel, you go into closed session and have that discussion first, and you come back out. Or usually that's something that's on the agenda. That's not something that you pop up on the agenda, you know, because transparency means you have what you're going to do on the agenda so citizens will know what's coming up and they will have a chance to voice their opinion, not after the fact. And after the fact, if you're not controlling the narrative, like you said, Leah, you know, you're leaving it open to all of us to and rumors and probably some truths. But we don't know, and we won't know until whatever happens.
So does it mean? Go ahead, James.
Yeah, the longer it goes on, where people have a chance to speculate or try to add what they think is going on, the less effective what you have to say about it is going to be. Exactly. People are, okay, well, I mean, why didn't you say that in the beginning?
Exactly.
And I was looking for some rational explanation of why you're doing this. I think it would have been fair to all the people, and doing it at a time and at a time on Delta Day. And
on Delta Day, can you believe that? Room full of Deltas
sitting out there. You know, it might not mean a lot to other people that are not in the Divine Nine, but that hit those ladies deep, and you can be assured they're going to be a big part of the upcoming election. And when you get just like they did in South Carolina, that helped Joe get over the hump. You get the ladies fired up. You got something on your hands, and you talk about awakening. And I'm not going to call them a sleeping giant because these ladies are already aware. You just woke up some already aware ladies that are going to go into action. And it didn't have to be that way if you explain yourself there and let us decide if we're going to agree with your reasoning or not. But to say nothing and come out later and let the rumors fly like they are, that's bad politics. That's bad business.
Yeah. You know, and it says, saying that, and you are so correct. So I fire X, the city manager, no explanation. You don't have a thing saying, okay, she is under federal indictment or something like that. There is nothing like that. And we already know that she's probably told every one of them no to a lot of projects that they want to go with, their pet peeve projects, because there's only so much money to go around. We already know that they were all fussing about the where the money was going to go with the money passed down to the federal government that's supposed to be out for infrastructure. That has to go to infrastructure, and you can't divert it to, say, and I give an example of the Big Homie program, and don't
keep saying Big Homie. That's my partner, please.
Not to give any disparaging.
I know, just pick another organization. Say DeAndre sports activity.
Okay,
DeAndre sports activity.
Okay, DeAndre's.
I agree. Keep Big Homies.
Keep Big Homies out of this.
Okay, DeAndre's slush fund in his whatever what job does he have? Oh, that's right. He's what do you call it? A philanthropist now. You know, with unemployed philanthropist, runs his own projects. So I want to run that. Take my little dip in that money because he's got his taxes due pretty soon in his house. So there's really no reason to do this, to stay this, and then they come out and they say, okay, we understand that we make this choice, and this is why we're saying this is what they said. This is why we're doing it, but there's no discussion why. You hit the other members and just bring this up, and then we're going to say it and squash it, and hopefully the news will die down. It'll be yesterday's news, just like we talk about gun violence in this country. Next week, in 2 weeks, we won't know about in Texas. We won't be discussing it because the Confederates would have been moved on.
And you know, and Colonel, does it mean then that they're going to put the bullseye on the other 3 members of council again by bringing someone in as the city manager without addressing it with other council members? That just seems unheard of because you have 4 votes. I mean, that's just unheard of. You bring someone else as the city manager and you don't share with your fellow council members who you're looking to bring in. You don't share with the citizens who you're looking to bring in. Something is wrong with that picture.
You've given me a litany of 4 names, 3 or 4 names that they're thinking we'll bring in. I'll bet you a dollar to the donut. They already know the name that they want to bring in.
Well, I spoke to someone last night who said they had been called and asked, and I'm not going to call the name out of consideration for them, but I did speak to someone last night who said that they had been called and asked. So that means you're doing this without the consideration of the council members. How does the city council work like that? How do they work like that?
Didn't they have a thing where they spend all this $100,000, $80,000, $100,000 on this search for the new person?
For the manager.
Didn't they? So who is going to pay back the citizens for that? Who's fitting the bill for that? So if you were a citizen of Portsmouth, call your representative, send your representative, and make sure you go to the polls in November, because they just spent $200,000 for firing this young lady, and burn up all the money for the search that they spent, that they could have just saved and got the person that they wanted anyway. And so you might as well say they've burned up, that's 300,000. That's roughly 400,000, maybe $500,000 that they took out of the city treasury today.
But yet they said on the council meeting, she's raising your taxes. The taxes are being raised because of silly situations like this just taking place in the city. This is causing your taxes to rise. You know, when you make these bad decisions.
Well, and one of the things that, I would do if I was a councilman, especially when it comes down to the funds, you have a Mimi who is the CFO, before you start committing money out or saying we need to put this here, sit down with the CFO and educate yourself to how city government fiscally works. Because just like it was said that a lot of things were caused by past councils and things like that. And that's some of the reasons why some of the money is like it is. So if you're going to correct what was done back then you have to look at how the funds were spent and what needs to be spent now. Like Colonel, you mentioned infrastructure, and they're talking about that tower, how bad that looks, but that's not a priority. But I'm saying, I've seen them ask the CFO questions that I would have gone to her and got educated about it before I threw some of that, because it's almost like a slap in her face. You're asking questions like she doesn't know what she's talking about. She's looking at those figures every day, and she knows how the law is, how the charter is, and where certain monies have to go and come in that are earmarked for certain things. They got some money in a few years ago, and I know they probably wanted to spend it on something else, but it was earmarked to spend on these crosswalks, like walk and don't walk. And you see them in places where you say, this is ridiculous to have this there, but they had no choice. The money was earmarked for that, and they had to spend it on that. And that's how some of the money that comes in is mandated for certain places. And you just because it's there, that doesn't mean, okay, we got 25 million here. Okay, well, let's give something to all the people out there working in the communities. You know, so you just can't do that. You have to do what mandated for that money. And then if you have something left over, then you can spend it like that. But that's the issue. You hire these people and they have degrees in finance and everything like that. So you hire them to advise you on the best way to spend your money. And you just don't ignore them and go your own way because they tell you we can't spend that way.
Right. Yes.
And James, yes. And you know, and one thing that kind of hurt my heart as well was today, as I was moving about through the city, and we're supposed to be setting the examples for the young people in the city. How do you behave? What is protocol? How do you follow protocol? What's the right way of doing this? What's the right way of doing that? And the young people asking me, say, Miss Steph, what was that all about? What was going on? They're confused. As well, I mean, you're not setting a good example for those who are coming up after you by doing things the way in which they choose to do it. It's sad.
It is sad. Well, you know what, Slim, you talked about, or Leah, one of you talked about, oh, she raised taxes. Well, I remember looking at one of the city council meetings where the city manager and the deputy went down line by line and talked about the major projects and gave the city council all this long list of projects that they needed to spend money on or what they wanted to do. And at that time, city council's responsibility is saying, well, we don't have enough money. If we don't want to raise taxes, how much money we got to spend? How much money are we going to have to spend next year? And with that, what do I have to X out? So they were silent with that. So that whole thing of, well, she raised taxes, no, that's a complete lie. It's on them.
Because she doesn't raise taxes. She makes recommendations.
Thank you. And they have to
vote for it. That's where I'm going. Is they raise the taxes because they wanted to spend the money. They have this choice to say, we're not going to spend money here and there, or this amount can go to there. She gives a recommendation. And I saw that on one of the city council meetings. And now they want to come up with a revisionist history saying she raised taxes. No, they are lying. They need to go home in November.
I tell you, it's a sad day in Portsmouth. That's all I have to say.
Yes.
It's a sad day.
Yes.
And I'm gonna say this because I was excited about us having. I like when we have a majority of African Americans up there because we are a majority African American city. So there's a representation. I didn't expect a supermajority like we had, but I said, okay, we have that. So this is a great opportunity for us to show that, you know, we can govern, you know, contrary to what some racists or what some people that are not racist might think. And we heard all those comments in the beginning. You know, it won't be long before they be fighting each other. And, you know, it turns out that they were prophets. But, you know, and I was excited about that. And we had a grand opportunity to serve the whole city and show that we could do it, you know, as a collective body for all citizens. And these last few, and that's why I tell people some meetings I couldn't watch because I wanted to get through a meeting without somebody going after each other, you know, and getting hot. In this last meeting, and Leah, you said you're going around. We were out today, and strangers holding conversations with people we never, you know, we just talk. I mean, you say hello, and they say, "What happened at the you know, just met this lady. We hold a 20-minute conversation with that person, and the everyday citizen, if they didn't see it live, they're getting it. They're getting the message that their kids from out of town is
sending it to people all across the nation. I got calls from Alabama. I got calls from from South Dakota. I got calls from New York. I got calls from people are sending the video out as to what's happening in the city of Portsmouth. And as I told you, James, I was at an ODU function last night, and the question constantly came up: what's happening in Portsmouth? How come Portsmouth can't get it together? What's wrong with Portsmouth? And James, I shared this with you some time ago. The little lady who I ran into in Brighton, if you remember, she said, I was so happy to get the Black folks on council. She says, but after watching them, I tell you what, I don't think I could vote for another one. That's sad. That's sad that this would be the litmus test to determine a Black person who's good for council.
Yeah.
You know, and I had to tell her, I said, well, you can't say that because you're basing it on a few. You're basing it on a few. But you have to vet. You got to vet every individual who's running for council. You got to find out who they are, what they're bringing to the table. And if they don't have a job, you better look out. If they don't have a job, you better look out.
Yeah.
They have nothing to lose. They have nothing to lose at all.
And if they choose someone, it should be somebody from that list that the colonel mentioned about they spend all the money from, because anybody coming in should be held to the same scrutiny that Angel Jones was held to.
Exactly.
And if they pull somebody in that wasn't on that list, that didn't go through that same scrutiny.
If they were not vetted by the source that vetted city managers, they should not be brought in as a city manager.
Matter of fact,
or they should extend the search.
Exactly.
Extend the search and use the acting city manager. That's probably what they should do anyway. Unless, like I said, they pick from that list, and then we get a chance to look at the qualifications from the group that we paid the money from, which gives us everything we need to know about that person. And it won't be somebody we don't know. We just know as a friend, or we know that they're a nice person, but are they qualified?
Yeah.
So if we don't use the same, the same process.
And as citizens of Portsmouth, you need to ask questions. Do not allow your council works for you. They work for you. And you need to ask questions. You need to ask, why are you making that decision? How is this going to impact upon us as a city? How is it going to make our city look? Ask the necessary questions. Portsmouth has to get a better place, has to get a better look. Yep. There has to be a better look.
And plus, anything that, say if you call one of them or you saw them in, Kroger, and they talk to you, anything they tell you, they should be willing to tell in public.
Exactly.
Because, sometimes they might see somebody and they'll tell, okay, this is where I feel, but I'm, and then don't say the same thing in public. So anything they say to you in private, they should, if it's city business, it should be told in public. So if they tell you something, you have the right, if you want to tell what they told you in private, if they don't say it in public. And we're still waiting on some kind of explanation. Any one of them can talk. Well, Barnes did say, Vice Mayor Barnes did say something on the news, and he said crime got worse. And that was
crime's been bad in Portsmouth forever.
Crime was kind of bad when I was in high school. We had the biggest shootout at one of our Northam games.
But James, what he failed to say was what the people were saying on that podium Tuesday night. This lady cried with me. This lady was in my home. This lady tried to help me. Tell the whole story. Don't give a piece of the story. Tell the entire story, not a piece of it.
He only got a piece of it, and because he can only think about that. Give a one-liner saying crime's gotten worse.
That's why I wish the news was there.
To help crime anyway.
Because you know what you get every time you watch the news is Lisa going through her rant.
That's all they show.
And they could have had shown those ladies that have lost their children and how the city manager, which I don't know of many city managers have done something like that, went to them you know, and she was doing that part. And at the same time, I believe she was trying to, you know, figure out how can we help them monetarily, you know, in a governmental fiscal way. And sometimes that takes time. And because it wasn't happening in your time frame, you know, I saw her a lot of times. She would just say, "I just don't want to make a hasty decision that will come back to bite us later," or she would say, "Bite you, council members, later." And the last thing on this, me talking now, she would always take the responsibilities. I've seen other managers throw it off to some of the subordinates, but she said one of the council members asked her about something that maybe one of her people under her had done. She said, "Well, whatever happens there, I'm responsible for."
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, and then I'll deal with that person in another venue. But when I'm sitting up here, whatever happens as city manager, that's my responsibility as I deal with you, my council members. You know, so I think that was something that, you know, put a star there beside her name.
Yeah.
That is the essence of true leadership. You expect the best of your people, but when they mess up, we all mess up. If I'm the chief and I'm the colonel, anybody that messes up in my section or my department or whoever is under me, that is me. They represent me, and I take responsibility for them. And one thing, and you better not say nothing to that person too, because I'm gonna come at you, because you know I'm gonna treat them. That's my family on there. They work for me. When you're talking about that, and you say something to them, you think you got a lashing in the city council. You wait till the cameras is off when I catch you outside. We're gonna have a real talk. But saying that, going back then as I go through this diatribe here, go back to Mr. Barnes, and I can't even call him vice mayor anymore because it just hurts me to say that. When he says the crime hadn't gotten better, it's gotten worse. What have you done? And it's on your watch.
Mm-hmm. What have you proposed? What have you brought to the table? What have you brought to the table
to get anything better?
Mm-hmm.
Other than saying I'm from the hood. Get out there and call the Crips and the Bloods. Since you're from the hood, can do all this. You have no programs, no nothing, no program, no ideas. No I even guess back. There's no bandwidth to even decide or either to say, have an idea of what to say or do.
But you know, just like the lady said to me today, she said, "You know one thing? Those four did not want her in the beginning."
Right.
She said, "I believe," now this is not me, this is someone else saying it. She says, "I believe that they were plotting from day one to get rid of her. And now is their time. They thought it was their time, but I think they chose the wrong time."
Right.
And they're using this as a means to get rid of her. But we know that they didn't want her from day one.
Well,
and them knowing that they didn't want her from day one, if they knew that they were planning to get rid of her, they should have come up with an answer as to why they are getting rid of her. What are the reasons why you're getting rid of her?
Yeah, and if you're going to get rid of me, so get rid of me when my contract is over, when I don't have any more money left. I don't have to renew your contract.
Yes.
So it doesn't cost the taxpayers of Portsmouth another $300,000. Actually, $400,000 because I got to pay her for this year, next year, whatever.
Pay out her contract.
Yeah,
the city has paid out a lot of people's contracts.
Yeah. That by itself should be we should be asking for the resignation of a few of the people on this yes list that okayed this.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see who would want to come to serve in Portsmouth at this time, because you know your life is in jeopardy. Yeah. Your work life is in jeopardy if you come here to work, because if you step on one person's toe, he can get 3 more people to vote against you and get rid of you. And that's a sad day. That's a really sad day.
Yeah.
And I like to say,
and as TNT Bailey says, no reasons to fire her, no benchmark set for her to meet. TNT, you are correct. You are correct.
Yep.
And if it sounds like we are blowing her horn, yes, we are, because that's all we have. We can only go by what we've seen, and nobody has, spoken up.
Just tell us why.
To tell us why.
Just tell us why. Why did you do it?
What we have seen is the same thing a lot of citizens have seen. Is of Angel Jones is what we've been talking about: compassion, professionalism, and even after she was fired, she showed professionalism.
Yeah,
and I'm sure that she may not have always done things the way that everybody want to see her do it. But any human being,
what
anything you do, huh? Would you say, James?
What city manager?
No one has. No one ever has.
You can't make everybody happy.
You can't keep everybody happy. Yeah. But the thing about it, if you're unhappy, sit down with her and tell her why you are unhappy. Give her an opportunity to improve in the areas in which you think she's not functioning well. Give her the chance.
And if you did that, let us know that you did that.
Exactly. Yeah. Let us know you sat down with her. You talked with her.
Speculate.
Well, I don't even think it's a thing of being unhappy with her performance. It's that they didn't get who they wanted. They finally got a deciding switch, got somebody that, because it was 4-3 to hire, and I finally got somebody to switch votes to get rid of her. Now I can get my crony or whoever I'm going to do. And if they hire somebody who's not on the original vetted list, you know what? If she needs help on funding this lawsuit, call me. Call me.
Another lawsuit against the city.
Another lawsuit.
That's why I always say when I make my little Facebook rants or just talks and telling citizens, when you have incumbents in office, it's easy. When they come up for re-election, it's easy. All you have to do is look at their record. They have something, new people, sometimes you have to take a chance. You have to believe in their platform because they're brand new, and sometimes you have to take a chance. I think they will do a good job, but you don't know till they get there. But incumbents, they're there. You look at their record and what they have done, you like it, you can then vote for them. But at least you have something, and we wait until those last 3 months before election, and all we do is listen to what they say. Right. They're in control of their narrative and telling what they've done, hoping that you hadn't looked back to see how they voted or go back and watch. Now you can go back and on YouTube and watch all the council meetings. You can just take your time, go back, and that can give you a good idea of do I really is this person serving my interests or the city's interests?
Or is it self-interest? Or is it self-interest?
You have to remember now, go back to the video and it's all. And if you make that decision to keep them, that's your choice. But at least you're going into the polls informed. And I preach, never go to the polls uninformed, because I work the polls a lot and have seen people come in there not knowing who they're voting for, and they'd allow us to complain once that person gets in there and messes up.
Yeah.
You have the opportunity. You're seeing it, a lot of it, you're seeing it live. You're seeing what's happening. So if they're not serving your interests, you got the incumbents, and also take a look at the people that are running. So you have time, especially the ones that are committing early. You have plenty of time to look at them and watch them and see how consistent they are when they go to places and talk about their platform. That's what you look for, consistency in their platform. Not saying one thing in Truxton and saying another thing in Churchton.
Right. You know, which one of these has an incumbent? Who's running again in November? Who's
Paul Battle and Woodard.
Battle and Woodard.
In Battle, right?
Right.
So both of these have both of these have track records.
Definitely.
And so it'll be up to the citizens of Portsmouth to see if you want to rehire them. If they want to, which one talks the game? And we've heard the game. And as they say, with this last vote, and I'm not just saying this one vote here, is the city council has, on a whole, has bamboozled a lot of people. Being hoodwinked, Portsmouth. You're paying for a whole, you got $500,000 that the city council, the four bandits just gave away $500,000 that they'd earmarked just to fire this young lady. So you got bent over again. So do I need to have rehire? Do I need to be rehired?
And you got to remember, when they come on, they come on for 4 years.
Yes.
4 years.
Yes.
So you got to see who you're going to put up there for 4 years.
Yes. So as they say, vet them.
Vet them well.
What you vote for, because when they get on there, you are stuck with them.
Along with those watch parties that you had for This Is Us, you know, This Is Us has ended now, and so you can have city council watch parties. Get together and binge watch city council meetings. And of course, I jest about that, but seriously, take your time and watch these things, and as well as look at the people that are running. I think it's some good people out there that's probably running that deserves a good look, you know, because just because you served a term on city council doesn't mean you deserve another. You know, and it's all up to us. And just like Leah was talking the other day when we had Senator Lucas and Delegate Scott and Delegate Clark on about the person that, if you don't think your vote counts, we had a person that lost by one vote or was so close.
No, they were tied.
And
they had to flip a coin to see who would be the winner. Every vote is important.
Imagine your representative decided on a coin toss.
On a coin toss.
It's like playing the lottery. But
anyway, you know, James, is important also for us to mention, people turn out heavily for presidential elections. Your local election has more impact on your life than the national elections. You should turn out for local elections the way you turn out for national elections, because these people control what happens in your life from the time you are born until the time you go to the grave. So you need to know who these individuals are, vet them well, go to the forum, listen to them, weigh what they say, ask questions. When they tell you something, ask questions so that you can know what they're truly bringing to the table. But most important, it is important to vote in the local elections. We got a council election coming up in November. It is crucial that you make sure you're registered. Make sure every person in your household is registered. Make sure your friends are registered, and go to the poll and vote.
Yes.
You can't change things unless you vote.
Yes.
I see. Well, TNT Bailey put and a 10% raise for the stand-in, which is the acting.
For the acting city manager, she gets a 10% bump.
Standard operating procedure, because when you have somebody to stand in that job, they're taking on a lot more responsibility, however short it is. And I believe they deserve that extra money, because they got to take the heat of someone that was just fired, and probably someone that they liked if they take it. So that's normal for, you see most cities do that for the acting that come in. And I just wanted to say that for Mr. Bailey or Miss Bailey.
TNT, yeah.
T. Bailey,
Uh-huh.
for that, that's just something that's done across the board.
Well, you know what?
It's something that wouldn't have to be done if we had just done the right thing.
Right. So I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's the way it is.
Let me follow up what Leah was talking about and talking about the voting. And the other thing is, look out. People look out for those that are have a self-funded campaign. That I know that both of these two incumbents got a lot of money. That they can buy a lot of signs. You don't vote for a sign that comes out. They put a sign out for every 4 years for a couple months out there. You have to know what they're doing for you. And in this case, you have to know what they're doing to you. And now you know what they're doing to you. So now you can actually take a clearer look at those folks that are declared or getting ready to declare. What are they going to do for you in their platforms? And do you want to replace?
And I'm telling you what, and it looks like the field is going to be big this November. So you're going to have to really be careful, because dilution of votes as well.
Yes.
You got to really pay attention, because you get too many people out there running for the position. You dilute the vote. So make sure that you know who you're voting for, because once you dilute the vote, then you don't get the person that you want to have in, and you get somebody else in who, once again, out for self.
Well, yeah, incumbents usually have they have their core votes, and that's how they stay in.
Mm-hmm.
So those who are running, y'all need to get together in a room and say, well, I only got 500 people that are going to be supporting me, because they're part of my church, for an example. Let me bow out so I can throw my support in to Mr. Smith, for an example, so we can get a chance to have some true representation. And so you get rid of some of these fringe groups and these people that are only going to get 200, 300, 500 votes. Because like you say, the dilution is a problem.
It is.
Yeah.
And I've seen that happen in the past, and people don't like for you to go in the past and bring that up, because they'll say, oh, that doesn't work. Well, people were honorable in looking at, really honestly looking at, do I have a chance here, or do I have a chance maybe later? Or will my involvement hurt a good candidate from getting in there? And that's the way they used to do, Leah, and
I know.
They would have conversations, and some people would bow out and some wouldn't. And sometimes those people that bowed out got an opportunity to serve on an important board, like the Planning Commission, or the EDA, or Parks and Recreation, and that's important too, as you work your way into a political. What I look for in a candidate is in his platform, how is he going to serve my interests? How is he going to serve the whole city's interests? If he wasn't in office before, what was he doing in the communities before that? Because a lot of people working in the communities, those people that pop up from nowhere, they really, really have to convince me that they have the best interest in heart. And they might, but I haven't seen them around. But you have a lot of people that not in office, but you see them everywhere doing things, not looking for the recognition, not taking the photos, but just doing the work because they believe in it. So I look for those people too, once they decide to run. And all that coupled with, it's not necessarily makes the best candidate. Sometimes you don't know, like I said, until they get there, but your chances are much better to having someone in there that's going to serve you well, if you take your time and vet them that way. And that's my way to vet them. And you might have your own way, but whatever you do, have some kind of system in vetting these people, so you'll know what you're looking for, and you'll feel confident when you go to those schools. And all those people standing out there, that's good for those people that don't know what they're doing, but you don't need any of that. You know exactly what you're going to do, because you're voting for the best person in your mind.
And James, and not because this is my best friend's mama, this is my church member, or this is my soror, or this is my weigh the persons because they're your classmate, or just because they're your mother's best friend, it doesn't mean they're the best candidate for the job. So you really have to weigh the issues. Angelia says the process has been so messy now. Everyone believes they can do it without being knowledgeable about knowing what it takes to make a strong effort. And the process has become truly messy now. I can agree with her on that one. It has become messy. So.
And because she's watching, she is one of the candidates.
She is? She's one of the candidates?
She's going to be one of the candidates for city council.
Well, there are
mentioning a lot of people asking who are the candidates. So as they come across us, we will shout them out and unbiasedly try to have them on the show and give them an opportunity. Even sometime in the morning show, it's a certain period, we can't have them on the radio, not unless you want to pay. But we can have them on our evening show and hope that they, support us in the future. I hope they remember that we gave them an opportunity to come on at 7 to present their platform, and hopefully they remember us and remember what we're trying to do here. So we will allow that, and that's because we want to share the right information. We want people to know who's running out there. And some people who don't need to be running, they come on the show, they'll be exposed.
Exactly.
So people say, well, you don't need to have them on your show. Well, I always say, well, sometimes you need to have everybody that possibly wants to be up here. And some people that you might think might be a good candidate might prove to be, after a conversation with us, might prove to be not my cup of tea. So we'll do our best to share, the candidates with our viewing public the best we can.
James,
if my co-hosts are good.
Should they come on, it would be on the evening edition and not on the morning coffee talk. So
right. Now, if they want to come on in the morning, we'll be looking for a fee for being on the radio, because
the radio station, not us, the radio station charge a fee.
Right. And we'll work that out with the radio. But anyway, if you want to be on the radio, you just can't come on and go on the radio for free and not support, especially that local radio station. You have to support them. You can't just say, give me exposure, and then not support them because they are giving you exposure. And the same with that.
So saying that, the bottom line is, as they say, bottom line up front, if you want to increase your exposure, give us a call, and then we'll negotiate something out with the radio station, and because we have to pay, they have to get a cut or whatever, because they have to keep the lights on. So just give us a call. And the other piece, if you want to come on the 7 o'clock version, PM version, we also need your help, because you're still getting exposure.
Yes.
But that would be in a different format as far as donations or remunerations and all that. But we also, it's all about helping us help you.
And the advantage of coming on, you'll have that time to not have little sound bites, and I think the forums are good, but when they have those one questions that go across the board, it might not be a question that you fare well on, but coming on here, you'll have the opportunity to really expand on your platform and let people know that you really, because sometimes in those forums in different places, questions are geared to people that particular forum likes. And it might not be to your advantage. You might get the exposure, but you might answer some questions that don't that you don't know or don't favor you. So you want to put out your best foot forward when you present yourself to the public, and we'll give you that opportunity.
Angelia says, have a coffee talk forum debate and have sponsorships for revenue. Sounds good to me, Angelia.
That's a good idea, Angelia.
Good idea.
And we'll put our heads together and work on how we can do that. That's a great idea. As soon as, and it probably will be after we get the official list of candidates, because, you know, a lot of times people will announce and you have them on your show. And then when, by the time the official ballot comes out, they either did not follow, you know, they did not qualify, or they decided not to run. So it will be after the official ballot comes out.
James, is that June 8th or the 12th?
I think it's, let's say the 12th. I'm not really sure, but I know it's June. I'll just throw out the 12th, and we'll verify that probably next time we come on the air.
But when you see your city council people out there in the neighborhood, in the community, walking around, ask them why. Ask them, why did you make that decision?
Yes.
Ask them, what reason was she fired? Just ask the question, that's all. And if they've done it in the right spirit, they're going to be able to sit there before you and tell you why they did it. And I don't know why they didn't share it with the general public, why they did it.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's going to eventually come out with some of them. But like I said, with all things going on there and all the talk going on there, it's not going to be as effective.
It's not.
2 weeks from there, after we've already made up our mind why you all did it.
Because the speculations and the rumors are running rampant all over the place. There's no place you can go that nobody's talking about it.
Colonel, just like the Republicans, the speculations that's out there now keep going and going and going, and after a while, all of us start believing it. And when you come out with your truth that either may be the truth or not be the truth, we've already made up our mind.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah,
come out now. You know,
the city manager didn't give my foundation enough money. Allegedly. So whoever owns the foundation, you can come on out here and debate that and say why.
So tell us why you made that decision.
Yes, but we're at the 8 o'clock number.
Oh, goodness.
Yes.
Well, and we must stress again that the opinions on this show, as Colonel said earlier, is not the opinion of any office in Portsmouth. It's not the opinion of any candidate in Portsmouth. It is our opinion. It is our opinion.
Each individual.
And what you say, James?
I said each individual host on Portsmouth.
Exactly.
We have our own opinions, and usually we agree. You know, that's one thing. But we come from different areas sometimes, but we usually agree on the subject matter at hand. So we're closing out now, but this won't be the last time we have the discussions. Like I said, we're gonna do our best to get the message out there, so you can be as informed as you need to be. Because one of the things, and Leah, you probably ran across this, when the people are asking you what's going on, they're looking for information as well. And what comes on, well, who's running? Because we got to do this, we got to do that. So it's going to be our mission to get that information out there, not only who's running, but what they're about.
Right,
right. We'll be working on that. So we feel obligated to do that. But thanks everybody for watching, and thank you, co-hosts. Any last words or comments before we sign off?
Just want to say my heart is heavy for Angel at this time. I wish her Godspeed. When she came to Portsmouth, I told her, baby, you're going to need a veil of protection over you. You don't know what you're coming into. So I pray for her. I pray for her family. I pray that all things will go well in her life. And I apologize. I apologize to her for the way that she was treated in the city. It was uncalled for.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no more I can say. No more I can say. But thank you all for coming on this evening and listening to us as well. Listening to us rant and rave this evening. Colonel?
Yes, it may sound like a rant. but it is the truth.
It is.
It is the actions of the city council can be summarized as idiocy, shameful, disrespectful to this, not only to the outgoing city manager, but it's disrespectful to the people of Portsmouth.
That's right. That's right.
And turn their back on the citizens that they had supposedly sworn an oath to protect and defend and to lead.
Mm-hmm.
They have failed on every thing that they should have been doing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is the worst leadership I've seen, and I just can't. I'm speechless.
And can I say one thing? I want to thank Bill Moody for speaking truth to power. He did that. He did that. Bill Moody spoke truth to power on Channel 3 and telling exactly what's taking place for the Portsmouth City Council.
Yeah.
You have to give credit where it's due.
You have to.
And I'd like to say this is beyond Portsmouth, the people in Buffalo and the people and the children in Texas. One of the things, we talk about mental health a lot on here, but I like to appeal to the news media before these guys are evaluated. Stop throwing that out there that they're mentally ill. I didn't hear, you don't hear that from others. I'll say other African Americans.
That's right.
So early that they're mentally ill. The media is setting up their defense for them before they're even evaluated. And you know how we feel about mental health here. We believe that it should be addressed, but before you evaluate it, and they have already decided that these guys, well, maybe they are, but throwing it out there, and by the time they get to the court, that's their defense already, and it's already in the potential jurors' mind that this guy's mentally ill. The guy just could be evil, and so I just had to say that, and it's just horrible for someone to go in and take out children, and people are talking about, we don't want to hear prayers with you and everything, but I have to say, we don't know how it feels. We all have children. Exactly. We all can imagine how it would be. I don't think I could carry on, something like that happened to me. So my heart goes out to those parents, the families of the people in Buffalo, all that history that those people in Buffalo had in them that they won't be able to share.
Exactly.
And that's the way I look at their families.
Slim, you're triggering me now. Because one, for Ted Cruz, I will let Ted Cruz, Senator Cruz, and some of the other Confederate senators out there that talk about mental illness. That is a lie. It is a smokescreen because of their inaction and their political bent towards the NRA and scared to do what they're supposed to do to protect this country. And I was watching one of the shows, NSNBC, and one of the commentators said, it will never stop because we have 52 senators on the wrong side of history.
Exactly.
All of them belonging, well, 2 of them belong to the Democratic Party. The other 50 belong to the Confederate Party. And it won't happen, God forbid it, if it won't, and nothing will change until something happens. I hate to say this, and I'm quoting from one of the commentators on TV saying, and I quote, until it hits them in their neighborhood. And if it hit them in their neighborhood, in their families, then they'd have action by tomorrow morning.
And, so, and Colonel, as you're saying that too, and if they blame it on mental health, then it looks like they would put more money into mental health. They've taken money out of mental health. So if you want to say it's mental health, put the money in there to take care of those individuals who are having these mental health issues.
Yes. Well, you look at the governor of Texas, cut mental health.
That's right.
But then made it easier to get a gun.
Exactly.
And now he's saying, I'm sorry, that we need to put more guns on the streets. Ted Cruz says, arm the teachers. There's nothing that some teacher could do against somebody with an AR-15.
The police couldn't even stop him because he had the vestment on. He had the protection on. So
yeah, that's the only why they stopped.
Yeah,
that's why they stopped the guy in Texas. He didn't have that.
Yeah,
and the guy in Buffalo didn't have that. That policeman would have got him early.
If he didn't have it, he would have gotten him early.
Would have got him early.
But then too, in Texas, we're hearing the lies now about whether they came in 40 minutes, or was it an hour, or was it an hour and a half, or was it 2 hours?
Yeah.
After the shooting started. So I know we're on another topic, James, and I know it's time for us to go.
Yeah. One more thing, Tommy. I just wanted to say, when I heard that policeman shot him, and it was something rang to me that you said a long time ago. The policemen shoot for the body mass up here.
Yeah.
A military guy would have gone here.
Yes.
And that was the difference between what what happened there.
Right.
There was a military guy. The training is
your headshots.
In that situation would have been a headshot because your objective is to take that guy down. He's already killed people.
Yeah, he's got to go. I don't need
the officer. He didn't know the guy.
Spray a bunch of bullets. I just need one shot.
Yeah,
I need one shot. And I believe the gunman was an Hispanic person. Am I correct?
Yeah, he was.
The one in Buffalo was that lived. Was he
no,
white?
He was a young white male, and they took him in. They didn't shoot him. They didn't kill him. They didn't shoot him.
I rest my case.
Amen.
I rest my case.
Amen.
Yeah, that's a whole subject.
I was going there.
That's a whole nother subject.
It's a whole nother subject. Probably took him to McDonald's or probably took him
first.
He can do a Kentucky Fried or somewhere. Got him a meal before he went in there. Took him home so he can get cleaned up.
And Angelina agrees with her. She's an Army vet, and she said she was trained shoot to kill.
Yeah.
In a wartime situation, you don't wound people.
Yeah.
I just had to throw that in. And thanks for your service and your sacrifice, Angelina. Appreciate it.
Yes.
Okay, that's all. I just had to throw that in.
Before we go down this and go into Facebook jail, we better cut this off because it's triggering now.
It's triggering.
This go crazy. This could go crazy.
Yeah.
But thank you all. Thank you all for watching.
Thanks you all for watching, and we and thank for the people that were watching and made their comments. That always helps. The comments you make that we can respond to as well. So. Thank you, and we're going to be working on trying to get that thing with potential candidates together.
We love you too, TNT Bailey. TNT says, "Love you all." We love you too, TNT. Thank you for always coming on.
Yep, she's a rep. He's a rep. I don't know if she or he. Okay, well, I'll just say TNT.
TNT.
Okay. TNT.
All right.
TNT.
All right. Portsmouth Coffee Talk is here for our voice,
our community,
and our future.
Thanks, everybody. We appreciate it.
Hey, guys. Monday morning.
Love you guys.
Love you too.
Take care.
Monday morning.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.